Hi, in this video, we will be discussing on MuleSoft recommended project folder structure. You can also call it as best practices. There are many, but we will discuss these in this video. If you are here just for the list, here is the details for you on high level. You should have a separate implementation flow for each resource or each business functionality. Don't put too much of complexity in a single flow and too many connectors in a single flow. It's better to have a fine-grained flows. Second one. All connector configurations or global properties should be in a separate mule configuration file. We call it as global.xml, or you can also call it as config.xml. Whatever you call it, just maintain it as a standard across the organization so that all developers can collaborate and understand the project easily. And property files. This we do everywhere in all other programming languages, Java, Python, whatever. So we read all properties from a file. That is a good practice. It will be modular. You can change the properties whenever you want without changing the source code. That is a good practice, right? And one more thing here is whenever you're putting properties in a separate file, may also have some sensitive information like database password, Salesforce, and SAP tokens. This is sensitive information. No unauthorized person should be looking at those. That we'll handle in separate ways, securing our properties. But here, one more thing is we encrypt them and keep it in a property file. So even a person look at it, they don't understand what it is. I'll show a demo in later part of the video. MuleSoft has some separate jar file and separate standards do that. See that. And putting a database script as a separate file. Why we do that? There may be some common functionality where we want to reuse that in separate project or in the same project as well, like date time conversions. Maybe there is some source date time which you want to convert it to target date time. That is the most common thing. You may need it in multiple projects as well. So we can reuse the same data view file. Or also there may be some business functionality like some financial logic where you want to reuse it in multiple places. So we'll just refer the data view file there. We can just import the data view function. We can make use of it. And one more thing is, once you deploy your application to API to Cloud Hub, there in settings part, we can look at the properties, right? Go to settings here, you will see the properties. Here I masked the security key. So no one can see that. So how do we do that? This is one good practice. You may have multiple properties here, like everybody can see if you have access to this environment, this API. So we can even secure it further by masking the property value. So I explain how do we do that. That we call it as masking or hiding the properties in Cloud Hub. So this is the list. Let's start with our demo now. Let us start with our demo. I'm just preparing a new project. Call it as account details. I have my RAML in my local. I'm importing it from there. So let us create the API. This new Mule project will be scaffolded flows based on our RAML. It will generate a skeleton which we can apply our logic on top of it. We'll see what are the MuleSoft recommended way of development and the steps we follow to implement those standards or practices we discussed earlier. Our flow is created now. So this is what you see whenever you whenever you create a new project from RAML. We'll have this main and console. Console is not needed. We'll just delete that only for testing purpose. And we have our resource. I have only one resource, get accounts, which is an get operation, get method. So it created only one flow. Sorry. Look at the project structure here. Have source main mule where you have the mule flow or generated. And in main resources, we'll have your RAML under API folder. And test resource will be with log4j test, which is empty. We don't have anything here since we did not have any marking a test resource. So source contains this and target contains this. Yeah. Why I'm showing you this because we will be putting some artifacts inside the main resources folder. So we should be aware of what do we have currently. So what is our first thing? Separate implementation flow for each resource, right? Now we have to implement some logic here. This is just a sample created. I want to get my account details from a database. So I have to implement the database logic here. I should not be changing the scaffolded flow. It's not recommended. Let it be what it is. Don't change much here. I'll create a separate mule configuration flow here. I'll call it as implementation flow. Implementation. Here I will be implementing my database logic. Database. It is select. And just select the version and add it there. Let us also do some small mapping. I'll also show you the data view file. How do we get a separate file? Okay, now here we have to create database connector configurations. We'll be using MySQL. Just add it. You see that is added under implementation flow, right? Let's say there is too many resources, like you have get accounts. Maybe there is something like post with create account or some other details, get address. So in this RAML, we may have more than 4 or 5 or even 10 resources. So you will have 10 implementation flows here, separate one for each resource. In that time, if you are searching for a particular control configuration in future, you have to search in all those files, right? Instead, if you have a separate file, separate mule configuration file, call it as global.xml, global. Here we create all the control configurations. Go here, create, select database. So once you got a new project, I mean on some old project which is completed a few months earlier, you are making some changes, enhancement or some change configuration or some change in the database connectivity. You'll just go to global.xml and you'll have all the details of all the connectors, right? So that is the purpose, that is the intention there. Okay, let us create here our database configuration file, connector configuration. You can just use some recommended libraries. It will add the necessary libraries there. Here, you should be putting values for our database connectivity. If you keep it like this, you call it as hard coding. If you want to change in future, you should be changing your source code. That's not good. So we have to refer it from a property file. That's what we discuss here, right? So let us see how do we create a property file quickly. I'll cancel it for now. I'll be creating my property file. Create a new file. Call it as properties.aml. That AML is an preferred file structure for properties. So I have my database properties here. Why I said AML is preferred, because you'll have an indentation here which clearly shows all these properties are related to DB. If you use dot properties instead of dot .aml, we should be writing whole property value here like db.host, db.port. It's not good at looking, right? So this is far good at looking and easy to identify with our eyes. So we create a property file. Instead, let us put it in a separate folder, create a folder, call it as properties. So if even you have more files for each environment, you'll have all this. So I'm just moving the properties file to properties folder. We are done. Now we should tell our flow that we have a file called properties.aml. You should read properties from there. Go to configuration properties, select the file. Will be properties AML, account details, right? Or application name, account details, properties AML. Okay, done. Now our mule app knows that we have a properties.aml file. Yeah, good there. Let us go to implement. See what is the error. One is not needed. We'll create a database configuration file here. Create database config. Here we refer all the properties from we already have added, right? So this is the syntax to refer properties from properties file. db.host, click OK. This is what, right? db.host. If you want to refer port, it will be db.port. Just quickly add those. Okay, I've added all the properties here. Let us quickly do the test connection. So it shows that our flow is reading properties from this file and able to make a connection with database. We are good there. So let us continue with our flow development. So for what we did, we created an implementation flow separately for our logic, and we created a global.xml to have our connector properties, and we created one property file. So far, that's what we did. Now, proceeding with our development implementation flow. Go here. Here we refer our connector properties. We enter SQL query. This is the table I have. That is okay. Let us quickly small mapping. To observe, we did not mention any metadata for database connector, but you can see that it's created a structure already for a sample structure. That is because since my database is in my local, so DB connector connected to my database and got the table structure. That is the beauty of MuleSoft. It makes your life easy, damn easy. So we have the structure here. Quickly do mapping. Okay, just a small sample mapping. Now I wanted to show you how to create this data view script as a file. We'll come to this. I have to data view script as a file. If you just save it like this, go into configuration file, you see that the code is data view code is embedded in your configuration.xml, right? Configuration XML. We cannot reuse this at some other places if you want it to be. Instead, what we do, go to transfer message, change it as a file. So file name will be account mapping. You observe in main resources, it will create an .dwl file. Yeah, right. So this is your data view script now. Go to config XML. You will see it is referred as an separate file. You don't have the data view code anymore. One more good practice: put it in a file, put it in a folder. Let's call it as data view scripts. Just it is easier to refer if you have it separate folders. And you observe now we have our data view scripts in separate folder, right? But here we are referring directly .dwl. By default, MuleFlow will refer to artifacts under main resources. Under main resources, it will search for this, but the location is wrong, right? It is under data view scripts again. So we should tell the transfer message flow. Go and check the file under main resources, data view scripts. And let me put that data view scripts. So here is the script. See here. So it will directly go to main resources and then check for this folder, and then inside the folder it will check for DW file. So far we are good. Quickly check the configuration XML, so it knows the exact path. So far we are good. I just want to tell you the next one. Here my database password is in text plain. Everybody can see that. I don't want it to be happen. That is why the MuleSoft recommends to have an secure properties. How do we do the secure properties? For that, the first step is you should be encrypting it. You should encrypt your password. And second step, you tell the MuleSoft flow that it is encrypted. You should decrypt with a particular key. Third part, uh, refer that property in your database connector as a secure property file, secure property value. We'll see that now. For that, first step is to download this jar file. Go to MuleSoft documentation, download this jar file. This is to encrypt your password. If you want to use it in local, just download the file, put it in a folder, and we will use this command to encrypt our password. I already downloaded. Click on this, it will download. I have already downloaded it here. Soft secure properties jar file. Okay, so we just go here. Get our command, and please note this command changed recently. Earlier, I think in 4.2, the secure properties version was different, and this command was different. Now it changed recently. So we should always refer to latest MuleSoft documentation. That is good practice. Let us prepare our encryption command. And next should be method and operation algorithm. Operation is to encrypt. Method is string, right? So we have to encrypt our string. It is encrypt, and we should select the algorithm. Let us use AES and mode. In AES algorithm, if you go down, you will see sample string encrypt. Blowfish is one of the encryption algorithm. We are using AES. See all those method names here. Go down. Tell you what all the recommended and supported algorithms, right? Said AES, advanced encryption, have a CBC, what we are following. Let us use CBC mode. CBC is like chain block coding, I guess. That is just part of the algorithm. How do they do the encryption? And, yeah. And then it should be our string. Okay. Okay. This is the command. I was just having some misspelled word here, encrypt. So this is the command. Let us try to put it for encryption. So what we are doing here is an encryption of our password root. This is the key for the encryption, right? So just hit enter. It will encrypt and give us the encrypted word. This is our encrypted password now. This is what will be using in our property file. Copy that, go to studio. Instead, we put the encrypted one. Now, we should also tell this property file that it is an encrypted password. To tell that in syntax is have exclamation and put it in square brackets. So this tells the property file that it's an encrypted password. It should be decrypted in real time, in runtime. So part 1 is done, encryption. Part 2 is to inform that overflow. So, okay. Now we have to tell our flow that we are going to use encrypted passwords, encrypted properties. So we should be decrypting those, right? We should tell them what is the key and what is the method we use for encryption. Only then it can decrypt, right? So to do that, you should be adding secure properties module to your project. So just search in Exchange, search it as secure, list the module, secured module, add it to your project and finish it. Now go to global load XML, properties. It is secure properties con. Now observe this properties here. what we are doing is referring to our property file. Property file is .yaml. Okay, selected. And should also tell it what is the key. Don't put your key just like this. That is another security threat. You are doing the encryption, but you are giving away the key. Don't do that. So how do we refer the key? Just put it as a property, call it as property secure key, and pass the value as an runtime argument. We'll see that. Just remember, we are referring the key as a property, but we are not putting this property in a property file. We'll pass the runtime argument. And the file level encryption, no, file is not encrypted. And this is one important one. We should tell that we encrypted with AES and CBC is the mode. If you use some other algorithm for encryption, you can just refer those. Use random initial vector is something related to algorithm. Don't use it for now. It's a bit high level of encryption. You can do that. You can explore it and more on it. Okay, nothing here, nothing here. Okay. So let us save it. Now we did two things we did. We have our encrypted password here. We also told that we have an encrypted password. This is how you decrypt it. Okay. Use a key. This is the algorithm for decryption. And the next one, third one is tell that our password is an encrypted property. So this is the syntax for that. Secure and two colons. So it knows we have to decrypt. So these are these three steps. Let us do the connectivity test again. So it tells our decryption. It will not decrypt because we did not mention the key here. This is runtime property, right? While we are deploying, we'll see if it's working or not. We cannot do that now because we did not give the key. You can also give key here. Just create an global property. Call it a secure key. That is what we refer, right? You can do that, but again, it's like giving away the key value. You secured your fort, but you are putting the keys on steps of the fort, right? So don't do that. It's always good practice to pass it as an argument. So far we are good. Implementation flow, we have our mapping, referred everything. Let us see if we covered everything here. Our slide. So this one discussed, I said, right? We'll have a separate flow. We have separate flow for this get accounts. Put as a reference. This flow reference, we should be referring it to implementation flow. Okay. Done. Next, global XML, yes. Property file, yes. Secure properties, yes. Database script as a file, yes. This one you will see during the deployment. Okay. Let us the deployment and test it. Yeah, the important thing now should be referring the runtime argument. Secure key. What is the key? I have it right. How we do the this is how we pass the properties in runtime. Apply, debug. Let's wait for the deployment. Let us test now. Flow is deployed. Have a breakpoint. Okay. Here it will be yes. Okay, you got the request. Response is back. Okay. So we are good. Let us deploy this to Cloud Hub, and so I'll also show you the last one. Masking of the properties. First, I'll deploy as it is. You'll understand. Go to deploy. So call it as account details. Cloud Hub, yes. Here we have to pass the secure key, right? Let's take the value from here. Runtime properties. There is the account details arguments. In Cloud Hub, we have to move the -m-d secure key. If you are not sure, are we giving it in a correct syntax? Just let's list it. It will show you. One more key thing here. Have people using colon. Even though you use colon, go to list, come back, it x equal to, right? So select the jar file, target, right? Account details, target or jar file now. Deploy application. Let it deploy. We are good. So we have to build our jar file again. So it refers to the latest changes we made to artifact.json here. So I'll just stop it. I'll just run it again. Run. What happens is whenever you run, this target folder will be cleared completely and it will create a new target. This folder contains the output of a build. So now build is done. You should have your new jar file here. Yeah. So let us try to deploy this now. So what I do, I'll delete this application. These account details, right? Account details. I delete it. So we are redeploying with the new this thing, right? Just make it as a clean one. So application, so that you'll understand that we are entering the plain text secure key, but it will mask that. Let's call it as get account details. We should upload the latest jar file. Account details, target account details, latest one, properties. This is property secure key equal to is the value. Yeah, let us deploy. See, we are entering the property as a plain text. Let us see if you are able to. We'll see that after the deployment. Okay, it is being deployed now. Go to settings, properties. You'll see it is masked. So now there is no way anyone can decrypt your encrypted property files. So, but there should be someone who knows this, right? It will be your ops team, your operations or admin team, MuleSoft platform team who knows all these values. They can have access to this machine separately. It shouldn't be an endpoint platform exposing to everyone who have access to the platform account, who have access to this environment and this particular level of access. So let us go back and we discussed all this this video. There are many more best practice and recommended process by MuleSoft. We'll see them one by one in future videos. Thank you. My name is Karthik Totapalli. See you later.